is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are ready to go. We got some crazy earnings seasons just kicking off, so we got a lot of fun today. We'll see what happens. You guys piling into the room. We got Andy in the house. Good morning to you, Bill. Good morning, Cindy, Corey, Frank, Jay. Good morning to Lauren, Marius. We got Matthew, Miguel, Micus, Paul. Tim Wins in the house, up bright and early. All my people out in YouTube land, good morning, Santilla. All my people lurking in the background, not making any comments. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button. So we survived the first round of earnings. Or we'll get to the Tesla. We'll get to the Tesla very, very shortly. We are gapping up. Pretty good bullish day so far. We made the call back here on this day. We're like, hey, you know what? We pretty much had a really good pullback so far. This is kind of the levels we were looking for. We pretty much nailed that to the penny, so that looks good to me. And we did start to rally. Pretty strong day yesterday. We were looking at this with the mentor group last night, but we have the VPOC from yesterday, which should be support today. I'd be looking for. We start breaking down. I got one level a little bit lower, but otherwise, VPOC closed at 505.24. The one I was targeting was 504.98. Otherwise, I don't have much. There's going to be some from back here, some levels of maybe some chop ahead, but ultimately, I think we head over to 510.40. Joe's in the house. What's up, Joe? So that's my target. 510.40. Obviously, we've had two pretty decent bullish days, but I'm loving that volume shift, and I think we do head a little bit higher. Again, the two scenarios that we're looking for, and I still have to go with the latter on this one, but we break, we hit all-time highs, fantastic, or we kind of come up into the zone and then we start to rotate down, either looking for a double bottom, or this one could get a little scarier if we do start to break down that previous pivot, which would be a little bit easier now to break down. So I think this is more the scenario. We'll see what happens than this one for right now. But the good news is we shifted off of a lot of the focus in terms of the interest rates and what Jerome Powell is wearing and how many times Jerome Powell showered that day and like all that stuff. We forgot about Jerome. So JP, sorry. But we're into earnings season, so we got a new focus, and the market has shifted a little bit. We'll see what happens when we get through that, and then when we start hitting more overall macro news. We avoided World War III for now, so I don't know. We're hanging out. Santilla says I was long in Tesla. And Tesla is up. Puts will be smoked. Oh, you were wrong on Tesla? Yeah, you had some puts heading in. We'll see. We'll cover that one. I know everyone's so antsy on Tesla. Matthew says that Apple trade we had yesterday, if we never would have moved our stop so soon. Yeah, that's usually the case. We would hit target. We still made some money on it, but we definitely would have hit some targets on that one. Again, you could be right. Even in the SPY, like we were pretty much calling the bottom. They still didn't make it easy, right? So trading is just timing. Timing, where you're at for the month. April's being a little bit of a trickier one. We got the Qs. The Qs gapping up pretty nicely. I think a lot of the tech might be moving today. We are at a little bit of resistance depending on where we open. So I like this open right now. If we open up here, I'm looking for some kind of support to 427.21. Maybe we get a smaller little pullback and then start to rally from there. But yesterday's VPOC, it is a retest gap. So if we start breaking down that level, I'm looking for more support around 425.16. Again, we still have 24 minutes till the open, so we'll see where we actually open on this one. But this is a pretty bullish open. I would expect a much smaller pullback at this point. And then targets, believe it or not, could happen today, but that's 431.31 would be my next little target to the higher side on Qs. TLT, see if the bond people are buying any of this nonsense. So far, not. Bearish gap and go. Gap's a little less important on the bonds. We are holding a key support level, though. So if we start to break through 88.41, That could set a little bit of panic mode. Banks will probably be getting killed. Anything in the IWM, I think most likely today's a little bit more tech heavy focused. Just coming out with the Tesla earnings, and I think we got Meta tonight. Is Meta tonight tomorrow? We'll pull that up in a second. But we'll see if we get a little bit further of a pullback on TLT. So far, they're not buying this, but we are just kind of coming in, retesting a pretty key support that we're gonna have to try to hold on that one. All right, let's get into Tesla. Tesla. So earnings came out yesterday. Honestly, not great. Not great earnings. They missed on every front possible. So we came in with 45 45 cents. We missed by 4 cents on this one. Earnings per share. I don't know if this trading view is completely correct. I was thinking that they had 51 was what they were expecting. Trading view telling me 49, so that's a 4 cent miss. Earnings per share. They also missed on revenue by 919 million. So it came in a little bit less than expected. The one saving grace, and I think that was the immediate pop at least, and then we'll get into the Elon Musk discussion. But the first kind of pop and bullishness was on margin. Their margin actually did improve a little bit. So instead of 15%, I think we came in at like 17. Don't quote me on this, but 17.2% margin. So that was a positive thing for Tesla. Just to show that there was a little bit of increased margin is good. That being said, everything else in the report was kind of a miss. Nothing too great. We talked about this yesterday, where we said with Tesla, they don't have that big of a bar to beat. They don't have much to like. We've been getting absolutely crushed. Really, no pullbacks, no other consolidation periods. Just pretty much down flush from 220s, 225s, something like that, 250s even. So they didn't have much to do. They just needed some positivity. And then the margin comes out, market likes it. Great, we rally up. And then the question is, Elon Musk, what's he going to say? He did well. He did well in the conference call. If there's one thing about Elon Musk, he's a good cheerleader. He he puts his right foot forward and takes a good step in the right direction with a lot of the Tesla talk. I don't know how believable the markets they like the products he talks about, which he was coming out pretty heavy with. Listen, here's the stuff that we're working on. The stuff that we're working on is the human people robot guys, whatever it's called, humanoid people. But you got the robots. I don't know why I drew an E there, but we got robots coming out, and then we got the full service, full self-driving. That's ramping up. We're going to crush that. That's coming out. We got the robo taxis coming out. That's coming out, but his timeline. So the products that he mentions usually does come out. I think the markets believe him on that. A lot of his time frames on when these things hit markets, I think he was saying as early as 2025, we're going to start having robots walking around. Yeah, we got the robo taxis. I think that was end of 2024. Maybe we'll call it 2025 as well. But we got a lot of stuff happening. And what is the markets like? Hopium. We need a reason to buy a stock. if we're like, hey, you know what? Maybe robots are the way. That would also fundamentally change Tesla as well. So right now, 87%, based on the report they put out yesterday, 87% of the earnings that come in from Tesla are from cars. Right? That's their big chunk of change that they're getting is from actual cars. So if we're looking at a car company and you're going to compare it now to Ford to GM, okay, you got those lower multiples on car companies where if everybody's like, hey, you know what, this is a tech company, that could be massive growth for Tesla, because if this is a tech company, which the robo taxis would take us there, the robot people would take us there, the even selling the software for the full self-driving cars, Okay, now you're starting to get into a different topic where Tesla is more of a tech company. If you're at a seven, I don't know what the growth rate. I think the growth rate was kind of small. Growth rate was probably I'm gonna go 10%. I don't even think it was that, but 10% growth rate. If I could get 10% on a tech company, I should be killing it, right? Most growth companies you're looking for like a 50% uh growth rate, 30%, 20%. So 10%, yeah, okay, and I think it was under that, but give me that. So now you have that positivity out there. Let's go to the chart though. And again, the investors liked the increased margin, and then again, Elon Musk just came in and kicked any bears in the face, and it's fine. But 163.34 has been my long-term support for a long time. We got a beautiful bounce off there. We got another bounce, and then we broke through and we started to flush. If we go back to the volume zones, I don't have much really support until kind of where we got to that 140 zone. And then if they did not like the earnings, I think we'd probably be sitting closer to about 123, 122. And I think you'd have some interested buyers in that location as well. Where did we come into pre-market so far on Tesla? That's given us that resistance essentially right into that line. So we've already double topped up here. Again, the earnings themselves weren't terrific. It's going to be kind of hard, I think, to go long after you're up so much. So I wouldn't mind trying to play the retest on this one personally. I'm also okay sitting out, not taking any plays on Tesla. But if I see a setup where we're getting now some kind of another top, or as close as possible, 163, 163.34, that would get me my best risk to reward on the trade. So we'll see what happens. But I wouldn't mind trying to fade this move. Um, I don't have it on this screen; it's on TOS. But I was looking at there is some divergence that I pulled up like right before the market closed yesterday that said this might be a little oversold, and the momentum is not really there with it. So this is definitely capable of getting a bounce. Do we reset and start breaking 163.34 and then we just track higher back to the 180s? It's possible, but until we break that 163.34, I think we've kind of pushed our almost limit for the day, I would think. So if you are in puts, depends on Centilla when you have those puts expiring. I think they expire this week, probably worthless. If we got some time on it, I could see a little pullback on this one. So that's what I'll be looking for today at least. See if we get some of those bulls just trying to get out at that previous resistance spot. But we'll see. Definitely going to be one to watch. Definitely going to have a lot more traders watching this one. So volatility should be, I would assume, relatively high. Um, but I think in a longer term basis, I think we still pulled back down. I wouldn't be surprised if we still hit that 120. Miguel says, did hit 618 from the daily chart 3 or 4 times, came back down. So fade could be interesting. I kind of want to lead toward the fade. I think the Qs have some room in it. I think the SPY has a little bit of room in it too. So the overall market could be decent as well. We'll see. You guys want to look at Boeing? Yeah, Boeing's another one. Earnings were not good. Earnings were not great on this one. But the bar was I don't even know if they have a bar. They don't even have a bar on Boeing. Just if Boeing is every day you wake up and Boeing is in business still, everyone's happy. They're just like, whew, I didn't go to zero, so that's good. But yeah, fun little gap on this one. This one does have a little bit more room on it, so I think we could probably get to. We got to watch out for that 20-day coming in. So we have a good 20-day moving average. Right now, at least I got it about 176.67. See if that holds. Otherwise, the volume zone that I have is 177.76. Did we hit that at all? Not yet. So we got a little bit more potential ahead of us. Kind of in no man's land. Would love to see this thing bounce back a little. A fade down a little bit before I get in. I'm just not sure about targets on this one. Yeah, the next one. Maybe we get to 178, so that gives us about $2 to the higher side on this one. And about 182. Lots and lots of consolidation. So there's going to be some bears getting trapped on this move right at that bell. Let me go out to a little bit of a longer time frame, see if I get some better volume zones. Yeah, that takes me right to that 178. So 178 is gonna be a tough one. So I don't know how much more room we have, but from this point at least one 180, something like that. Let's go with those handy fibs, these Fibonacci things. Just on a longer term move. So that 178, I got 177.82 is a 32% retracement. 50% takes me back into this 180 zone, and then I got a good volume zone plus the 618 up at 184.07. So longer term basis, there's some decent upside to this one. Again, the earnings weren't great, so as a long term investor, I'm going to sit out on this one still. Just see how this one wants to play out. Boeing can make good moves, and maybe this is enough to at least let the Bears be like, okay, well, how much more juice is on this thing? It's down at, if we flip back to the daily support, it is down at a pretty decent key support. We kind of broke through it, and now we could maybe trap some of those in there. And longer term, like longer term, 204. So you think it gets back there? It's decent gains on it. Um, Otherwise, yeah, we still probably have like a 150, 149 would be great. I wouldn't mind trying to take a stab at maybe some longer term investments if we get down there. CEO was just on. Yeah, but which CEO, Lucian? Didn't they just change him? Is it the new guy? Because the new guy is going to come in with all optimism, which is not a bad thing. Old CEO, I mean, he's probably senile and he just says things. I'm not sure. The old one still? Yeah, I think they switched what the end of the year, probably. Matthew says also announced they will be buying. Yeah, so that was interesting on the Tesla report. They did announce they're buying 85,000 of NVIDIA's Super Whammy Die GPU. I don't know if that's the name of it. I don't think so. But yeah, they are buying a lot of NVIDIA's products too. So that's another positive for NVIDIA, which we could take a look at in a second too. NVIDIA TXN. They had killer reports. So they actually, as opposed to Tesla and Boeing, these guys crushed it. So up 11%, almost 12% on earnings per share. They did beat by 47 million in revenue. Surprise upside beat, which is great. We do have all that volume now on our tails, so that should all be support. This is 2 strong days of buying. We probably get a little pullback on this one. I'm watching this 175.97 zone, so that should be my resistance on this one. Otherwise, I don't know how far this pullback is, but wouldn't mind taking a look closer if it pulls back to like 170.38, 171.38. I don't want to fade this one short. Um, I would rather buy the dips on this one. The more we could pull back, the better. But they did crush it, and they had a pretty healthy move after hours last night too. But I think it's one to watch. There was another ticker in here too. Meta. When's their earnings? It's either today or tomorrow, I think. Today after hours. So the fun just does not stop. Oh, the party keeps on going. Let's look at first volume zones. Where am I on daily? The zone I really want to hold is 486.25. Looks like we kind of came down, retested that, bounced back. The way the market moved, pretty positive last night. That might be a little bit more incentive for Meta. Let's go to a weekly chart on this one. Weekly chart, yeah, that puts me at 486. I don't really have that much above me to hold me back. So as long as those earnings could stay decent, you can see a nice little pop on Meta after hours today too. There's not really a whole heck of a lot of resistance. The highest one I got is 526.64. Should be a pretty healthy move after hours. We get back up there. Otherwise, today on this gap up, it is a retest from yesterday. However, this is the candle with that volume. We're now gapping above, so that looks fun. Immediate resistance for today, 512.83, and then if the market is going to stay bullish and continue just that upward parade. We got 520.60. So if we get to 520.60, that gives you $12 today. I don't know if we're gonna get there before earnings. We'll see. I wouldn't mind a pullback though if I was gonna try it. So just because I got that resistance really close, right around 511, 512, somewhere in that zone, I'd rather see a pullback first, and 504.20 would be an interesting spot to look to maybe pick up some shares. But these ones are a little bit different. So obviously earnings on Boeing weren't great. Tesla wasn't great. Meta at all-time highs, they kind of have to be great. They don't have that low bar like the other guys did. John Alonzo's in the house. What's up, buddy? Uh so they're gonna have a different narrative coming into the earning report. That's the one thing that would give me a little hesitancy. Otherwise, if those earnings are terrific and they're absolutely still crushing it, we could see a fantastic gap on Meta in a bullish direction. But if they're just okay earnings and they put out any kind of negative forecast, this thing it might be a little heavy, but we'll see. But yeah, for day trade purpose, we'll throw this one up a little bit higher on the list since they do report today. Maybe it could get fun. Somewhere around that 504 if it comes back would be a phenomenal place to look for at least a day trade purpose. All right. Let's see. We got. Let me know if you guys got other tickers. I think we're almost out. We got AMD or MU from Tim G. Oh, Riley. Yeah, I think I saw something on Riley. I missed it. AMD again. Retest gap from yesterday. I like the fact we're above this candle though, so it's a retest. I wouldn't want to really see a full on retest. That would come into like 152.91, probably a little higher. We'll just call it 153. So I'd be looking for 153. This will probably move based on how Nvidia moves. I do like the fact that we have some kind of break above that last little VPOC, which that one sits. So initial support probably about 155. To the high side, 156.78. That technically was retested one time already. That could be a little bit easier to break through. And then stretch goals today, I think maybe on a really good day, 160.49. But I would like to see a little bit of a pullback, see if we could recapture that 150, maybe a break under, not 150, 155. We could get a little break under that, push right back, give me some kind of hammer around there. Maybe worth day trade. I do like the fact that this is being taken out though, so we'll get AMD higher on the list. It's got that one little spot above us that could give us a little challenge, but if we get past that, we have a good trade on it. Uh, Riley, B. Riley, financials. Nice gap up on this one. Uh, Earnings this morning probably because it's not updated. What was the other comment on Riley? I think he had some numbers in that one. Riley, 75.4% short float. Well, that's an important number. Why is their short float that crazy? that's that's we're still about halfway from what GameStop was, but that's high. 75% short float. I think GameStop was what, 140, 150? GameStop was insane. I don't know how I want to trade this one, but that could be a decent amount of shorts getting squeezed. Let's add this one to the list. We'll watch it. If we get a setup, maybe. I do like a good short float. I do like a good short squeeze. And then any of those bears I piled in essentially since, where's this candle at? Got a good high volume candle here. Since November. since beginning of November. So any bears that piled into this thing since beginning of November, that's a good couple of months, 6 months. Targets are a little concerning on this one. So the next spot I got is about 35.47. But again, if that short float goes crazy, could be fun to watch. I'm watching on the screen. AMD is already starting to move. So is Tesla. We got MU. Yeah, that's a high short float. That's crazy. MU still holding on to that perfect 618 bounce. So that's decent. Tiny little resistance above us. Two bullish days in a row. And we're opening right at yesterday's VPOC. Probably looking for continuation on this one. Wouldn't be surprised. Especially if Nvidia does start to rally and they got essentially good news from Tesla coming out. First resistance, which we did run into yesterday, 112.74. Otherwise, the next target, 117. I'm going to get MU up. I think that might be a sneaky little bull case. It's got some room. We do have one little resistance right above us, but otherwise, MU looks fun. Amazon. Zonian. They got earnings coming out Tuesday, next Tuesday. Target on this one would be about 181. Little volume zone here. This is a retest gap. I'd see if this one could pull back first, somewhere around 179.68. See how that holds. That should be a decent level of support. I do have this 20 EMA in the way as well, but would be leaning more bullish. Just don't want to do it right out of the gate. So we'll get that one higher on the list, but probably a little bit later if we get some kind of pullback in the market. We'll see. Santilla says, is a risk reward on Boeing. I would, yeah, in a sense, there is a little bit of risk reward on Boeing. Again, Boeing, I wouldn't mind. I mean, if I was to get into this thing and you're opening right at that 20-day, the 20 EMA right now, I would like to see a fade. The closer I could really get to 171, fantastic. And then trying to throw your stop somewhere around 167. That'd be fantastic. Otherwise, this is a gap and go today. Look for some kind of support around 173.98. But that is the morning opening bell. So everybody out in YouTube land, I appreciate you joining us each and every day. But that sound means that I got to disconnect, unfortunately. But we do this every day, 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., all Eastern time zones. So we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Be safe in the markets.